How's it going, knife nerds? So today we are here with my Shirogorov Neon Zero with the Monkey Edge Frag Pattern scales. And I got this one about a month ago, and so it's getting to be time to give this bad boy a review. So what we have here is a 3.375 inch blade, M390 steel. And it has that same style of Shirogorov finish, which is the vapor blasted or Zur blasted finish with a light stonewash tumbling on it. And we've got a prominent swedge on the top of the blade here and some stylistic jimping. The M390 badge on the back side there. And then we get into the full titanium scales, which are just a bead blasted finish, and with this beautiful Monkey Edge Frag Pattern. And so this is a highly sought after version of the Neon Zero. I think this was the third drop from Monkey Edge that has happened so far, and I was very lucky to get in on the actual drop and score one. And they are expensive, guys. This ran $715 from Monkey Edge. So yeah, this is not a budget knife, not an even remotely affordable knife for most people, including myself. You know, I had to make some sacrifices to get this, and it was not easy to do for me. So no, I'm not a wealthy man, and it is what it is. I really wanted this knife. I waited like a year for that drop to happen, you know, and I would have missed it, honestly. Somebody had posted in one of the Shirogorov groups, hey, the Monkey Edge has neons right now, and I just ran over immediately and pulled the trigger on it. Monkey Edge does offer a payment system where you can do like 3 payments on a knife over a period of a few weeks. And that helps for their higher end stuff there, but you know, it's still very, very expensive. So we've got the Shirogorov logo located towards the back of the scales here, which is different than most of their knives where the bear is actually on the blade. And then on the back side, right up here, we've got that MEFP Monkey Edge Frag Pattern logo located right there. And then this knife is basically like a Shirogorov Hation, except it's the full tie version, or I should say the Hation is like a neon but with carbon fiber. And then so all the similar features of a Hation Zero. We've got that sick geared backspacer with the you know, recessed lanyard loop there, and look how that's channeled and coved out. Look at all that chamfering back there, guys. There's just an insane amount of machine work that goes into these Shirogorov knives. It's ridiculous. All the chamfering around everything. Beautiful, beautiful knives. We've got that same recessed ramp there like I showed you guys on my F3NS. And in fact, this blade shape is the exact same blade shape that is on the F3NS. This is just a much smaller knife with a 3.375 inch blade. It has an overall length of 7.75 inches, and it weighs in at about 2.9 ounces for the standard Neon Zero. This one may be a hair lighter because of the milling on the exterior of the scales, and it is fully milled out on the inside as well. So I imagine this falls under that 2.9 ounce weight spec there. So we do got the internal milling and the external milling done with the frag pattern, and so it's probably under that. I'm thinking 2.8, 2.7 ounces, somewhere around there. This is a flipper only deployment like most Shirogorov knives, and so yeah, We'll get into the action in a minute, but first let's talk more about the overall build of the knife. It is running on multi-row bearings. The Neons and Hations, they have a dual row bearings, whereas the larger Shirogorovs have triple row bearings. So this is running on double row bearings, and they do run on stainless steel bearings. They do have a ceramic detent in there. And I'm not sure if I have any pictures of this knife when I had it taken apart, but I will, if I do have some, I'll roll them in right here and we can take a look at whatever that is. And so yeah, man, I absolutely love this knife, guys. When I first got it, it gave me a little bit of an issue, and from my understanding, it's a common issue with the Neon Zeros and the Hation Zeros, where if you put your finger on the lock bar, it locks up the blade and you can't open the knife. And that was happening to me when I first got the knife. And so it's not an uncommon thing with these knives, because they are so tightly fitted. The machining is so precision that you kind of, you know, have to give the knife some break-in time, and maybe even take it apart and clean it and get things dialed in before you're going to actually, you know, have the knife to where it's going to end up. So when I had that, man, when I first got it, the detent was like a solid 9. I mean, it was really hard, like incredibly hard detent. And then if I even remotely touched the lock bar, I couldn't flip the knife. And that went on for all of about 1 or 2 days. It seemed to be slowly breaking in and getting a little bit easier to deploy over those 2 days. And then a few days later, I got my razor edge knives, Shirogorov tools, and I was able to take the knife apart and clean things and loosen the pivot a little bit and get things, you know, a little more dialed in. And after that, the detent was working a lot better, getting softer day by day. It took about a full 2 weeks of playing with this knife, a whole lot, to break it in. And once I got through that break-in period, the detent had settled down to a good like 5 or 6. I mean, I went all the way through the detent scale from 9 down to 5 or 6. And now it's super easy to deploy. I can put my finger on the lock bar. It's not stopping me from opening the knife anymore. And I can, you know, even full finger. If I get up a little bit higher up here, it might... No, I could still open it. You know, it's just not affecting things anymore. And so that was one of the issues. That was actually, I guess that was the major issue that I had when I first got the knife. And it was completely resolved by taking the knife apart, cleaning it. And, and one night what I did was I took the knife and I actually left the blade half open like that, and left it on my table half open for like a good 12 to 15 hours. And so what that's going to do is kind of relax the lock bar, guys. So if you can see this, when you, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this behind the camera. When you move your lock bar open, you see how that lock bar pops out. So you get that detent ball onto the blade, and it's leaving that lock bar in the open, you know, in the most open position. In fact, it's even raised a little above the scale there. And so what that's going to do is just relax a little bit of tension that's on the lock bar, because you cannot adjust this lock bar. You cannot manually adjust this lock bar without doing some warranty voiding stuff. And the reason why is because, I don't know if, let me get my flashlight one more time. I don't know if we'll be able to see this on camera, but Shirogorov does a strange thing with their lock bar inserts. There's so much dust in there from carrying this, I don't know if you can even see it. But their lock bar inserts on most of their knives are glued in. They're fitted into the frame so tightly and then glued in. They are not bolted into the frame. On most production knives, you're going to have a screw that goes through the backside of the lock bar here and bolts into the lock bar insert. On Shirogorovs, you do not have that screw, so you cannot remove the lock bar insert yourself. The only way you're getting that removed is if you send it to Shirogorov and they do whatever they do to take it out. So since you cannot remove that lock bar insert, and it does have an over travel stop, you can see that little shiny piece of metal right there. That's the over travel stop that keeps you from extending that lock bar past the frame. Since it has that over travel stop and you can't remove the lock bar insert, you cannot manually adjust this lock bar yourself. So whatever you know, tension that the lock bar has from the factory is what you're going to be stuck with on these knives. Whether that be a really strong detent like I had or whatever, you're kind of stuck with it. But just keep in mind that there is a major break-in period for these knives. And once I got through that break-in period, this action is freaking phenomenal, guys. I mean, the detent feels strong, and just listen to that good thwack that it gives when I deploy it. Oops, slipped off. That was my fault. And when I flip this knife, it's like just hitting a switch. As soon as I flip that, as soon as I break the detent, that blade is like already locking up. It's so fast. It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculously good action. It is not drop shutty. I can kind of shake it down. Because the lock bar tension is still pretty solid on this knife, it's not going to be drop shutty. But I can give it one quick shake down, you know, just kind of flick it down, really. One flick and it's down, right? So it doesn't bother me that much on this knife that it's not a drop shutty knife, because it is a smaller EDC size knife anyway. You know, you can see here my hand, you know, takes up that whole handle there. But yeah, so not a drop shutty knife. I can do my little what I call the inertial closing, where I will actually somebody asked me how to do this one time and I never really explained it to them. I felt bad about that, but I'll actually use my index finger here to disengage the lock and just kind of push the blade with my thumb until the detent ball is up on the blade, and then just give it a spin, and I'm using the inertia of that blade to close it, right? So a little knife flipper trick thing there that I do a lot, just like that. Anyways, beautiful Shirogorov action here. Beautiful blade, very good slicing geometry here. Not the best. It's not a better cutter than my F3&S, because I believe, you know, the F3&S is a wider blade with that flat grind, and so I think that the F3&S is actually a little bit of a better slicer than the Neon Zero, but you know, still a very good cutting knife. I did put an edge on this. It was about a 19.5 degree edge on my wicked edge there, and yeah, just beautiful all around. Beautiful edge, beautiful cutter. This is really it's a perfect EDC knife, guys. A perfect high-end EDC knife. If you want to carry something that is ridiculously expensive for whatever reason, this is right up that alley. Okay, it's a great size for carrying every day. Very minimal pocket consumption there. It is very thin through this area, very slim all around. Feels very good in hand. Ergos are very good. The clip actually adds a little bit of grip to it, and of course the frag pattern actually adds a little bit of traction on this handle as well, and just feels phenomenal in hand all around. There's no hot spots, no sharp stuff, no pointy edges or weird shit. It's just a phenomenal freaking knife, guys. This has been dominating my pocket pretty much since I got it. I occasionally will throw my Koenig Arius in my pocket, or my Shirogorov F3 and S have been in my pocket a little bit, but I keep picking up the Neon Zero every day and putting that in my pocket for my primary carry. I've been carrying this to work since I sold that Ferrum Forge Archbishop 3.0 I had to fund something else, so I don't really have a work carry right now, so I've been carrying this for work, but I've been just dropping it down into my pocket so the clip doesn't get scratched up while I'm working and whatnot. And that's worked out just fine so far because it's compact, it's light, it's slim, and I can drop it into the bottom of my pocket and it's not bothersome. Man, I love this knife, and I'm very pleased that I was able to pick it up on that Monkey Edge drop. And really getting this has made me want to buy another Neon Zero to add to the collection. Starting to get a little bit of a Shirogorov fetish going on here for myself. I've only got the 2 right now, but there are actually 2 or 3 more Shirogorovs that I would like to add to the collection at this time. And but yeah, so far it's these 2, and very much loving both of them. Yeah, so what else to say about the Neon Zero Monkey Edge Frag Pattern? Man, these puppies are hard to get, guys. If you're looking to pick up a Neon Zero, those are more readily available, but to get the one with the Monkey Edge Frag Pattern, not so easy. You can get the plain Jane ones, and then you can get some of the older versions like the Neon R20 and whatnot, and you can find those for pretty reasonable prices on the secondary market. But getting this one, this is the proverbial grail right here. Very difficult to get. And I just love the way this flipper feels, guys. It's a very unobtrusive, low profile flipper, which, if that's a rough thing when you first get it and the detent is really stiff. It makes it kind of hard to flip, and you'll slip off of that and kind of bruise up your finger and stuff. But once it's broken in, oh my god, just buttery smooth deployment. Beautiful action. Absolutely love this knife. And yeah, that's about it for today, guys. I will be probably having a few more reviews. Actually, I'll have an unboxing hopefully coming up here shortly in a few days. Something big, something I've been looking forward to for quite some time, a pre-order that I did, and some other stuff. And yeah, so keep an eye out for the next video. Later.